Hey guys, Manitove here with another video. This time I'm going to be discussing something that's been getting on a lot of people's nerves, especially gets on mine. Can the Summoner's War AI be trusted? So what I did is went ahead, did some runs, a little over, I believe, 12, just to test the viability of a speed comp in Giants. So let's hop on in and see what I'm talking about. Now, like I said, I did about 12 runs. This is my team. I'm using Lucian, Lin, Crow, Helia. Now, I have the turn order listed here on the side. The turn order should be with speed tuning. Lucian should amp magic, taking care of the first wave. Then he should surprise box on the second wave. Helia then should Sign of Death, and then Crow should scar, and Lin should Phantom Crush, and the second Lin, if need be, should also Phantom Crush. And then going in based on resets from 2 stages, Amp Magic should be available from Lucian again. And then we should get another surprise box, another Sign of Death, another Scar, and then 2 more Phantom Crushes. So that was the idea behind this, just because I like to see the fast clears as much as the next person. And as you see right off the first run, I don't get the amp magic that I'm looking for. So why is it that the AI doesn't prioritize the skills necessary is the question. Now, we just had a big old patch in which they reduced the number of waves that we have to clear through in order to speed up these runs, so newer and mid-game players can effectively try to catch up to players that have been around longer or that throw a little bit more visa at the game. In my 4.5, nearly 5 years of playing this game, not once have I ever looked up in chat and seen, wow, if they just removed the second wave of the dungeon, it would be so much more consistent. The general chat I see is complaint about the AI and how bad the AI is. As you see on the second run, once again, we have an AI fail. It just doesn't prioritize the skills. And what you guys are going to see here is actually pretty brutal because there are quite a few wipes. Because I call them AI wipes. If the AI did what the AI was supposed to do, or what we were led to believe it would do, then this would be a consistently solid team, a consistently solid speed team. Now, mind you, if you're a beginning level player or mid-level player or just dipping your toe into end game, this is not the comp for you. I did this purely for science. Run number 3, already have an AI derp, first wave. And causes me to, I believe this one's a wipe. This is not the comp for you though, if you're a beginning or mid-tier player. I don't even use this comp regularly. It was just, like I said, something I was doing for science, having some fun. I do have a stable Giants team that gets me sub 30 clears. I have a stable Dragons team and a stable Necro team as well. And that's the emphasis I guess I'm trying to point out here, is that even though the AI is terrible, you can still build consistent teams. But you have to do a little bit more safe runs. You have to build units that you know that will complement each other. These speed clears are great, but if it's not consistent, you're actually damaging your progression. Don't trust the AI to do what it's supposed to do, even though, like I said, I've been playing for about 4.5 years now, and I can remember back when TOA was first introduced into the game. The big thing was that no one, I think the first month, like 8 or 9 people were able to even clear it. And then after about 6 months, it became more of a commonplace thing to see TOA clears drop in chat. And some of the comp to us representatives, I believe on the Korean side, did a interview with I think something at E3 or something like that, or maybe could have even been Comic-Con. But one of their statements is they wanted to make all the PvE content clearable reliably on auto. And that's where I get my rub from. Because it was stated by a Com2Us employee. It wasn't just one of the faces that you see on the weekly streams or anything like that. It was a Com2Us employee on the high end in Korea. And when I'm told something, I tend to want to believe the person that's telling me this. And because they told me that they wanted to reliably make PvE content clearable via the auto feature, I guess I assumed that that included proper AI. Now, as we've seen so far out of all these runs, I haven't gotten one single pure AI functioning in a proper manner. Not once has the turn order gone as designed. I've spent time, I've spent effort into building this comp, speed tuning this comp, acquiring the runes required to make the comp viable, so it should work on paper. Now the AI is apparently another layer of RNG that they want to throw on top of all the other RNG that you have to deal with the game. Are you going to get the appropriate unit? Are you going to get the rune? If you can even clear the damn level. And that is annoying to me. I'm not trying to make this a gripe fest about the AI. I just would like to see the AI work. And I am not a scripting programmer, but I do have some experience with web development, and I know it's a little bit different than what you would see on server side, but I do know that there are calls that you can implement that will prioritize certain skills. On the website, it's called an if-else statement. If S3 is available, use S3. Else, if S3 is not available, use S2. And it's a simple programming language that I think would translate into a better functional AI system. And I know there's a lot of different things that maybe we don't see on our end, so I'm not trashing Com2Us for having not implemented something more solid in 5 years. Because I do understand that programming does take time and it requires a lot of resources and a lot of testing, even though I don't think they even have a beta testing server available for people to play on. I haven't seen one, at least. Maybe there's one available in Korea, I don't know. But if you would just fix the AI and make it more consistent, then overhauls where you eliminate a whole floor of the dungeon wouldn't be necessary in the first place. You're seeing that clears now are dropping down to the 15-16 second mark in Giants on the record board, which is great. But if you looked at it before the balance patch, before they removed that element of the game, people were still at 18-19 seconds. So for high-end players, you didn't change much because it was already built in. If they got a perfect AI run with the comps they already had, the faster times were already there. So all you would have to do is implement proper turn order, and you could have left the dungeons the same. I mean, what are we on? Run 5, 6, or 7, and still not a proper functioning AI run? I call it a pure AI run because that's the way I think of it. If it works as designed, it's pure, it works. Like right here, we get an Amp Magic, good to go. We get a surprise box, good to go, and then skill 2 for some reason. For 2 of the units. It doesn't make any sense to me to have put all this time and effort into trying to get people to acquire runes, units, and speed tuning, and telling us through in-game tooltips, if if you do certain things, you can beat levels with weaker monsters and yada yada, and then not implement the one thing that would make the game more reliably enjoyable. When you're trying to speed tune and speed run and clear content as fast as possible, you want to progress. That's the point. At this stage in my game, I've been playing, like I said, for 4.5, nearly 5 years, and I should not be struggling with content like this. And it's not even the fact that I'm struggling with content, because I do, like I said, I do have stable teams that can clear this all. But in the eyes of a gamer that has been playing multiple games like this over the course of the span of their life, this content is old content. I mean, in most other games by this point, if you spent time building your monster box or building your inventory or just anything that you would do in any other game, content like this would be depreciated. But being a mobile game, they try to keep content around longer to make it to keep it viable, which I understand. A mobile game can only handle so much. There's only so much information you can request a phone or a tablet hold without being overbearing on server side stuff, and then you come into connectivity issues when people are playing over mobile data. Completely understand why you're trying to keep older content more viable, but the viability of it and then the stigma behind a gamer that has played games for a long time, where I should not even be worrying about a wipe in this type of content, because I have been clearing this content for 5 years. And it's not that these teams can't do it, it's the AI that prevents it from doing it. So, like I said, it's just another layer of RNG that you have to get through to have a sustainable run. And in that case, it makes the game less valuable overall, because no matter what you do, you're never going to hit the perfect run or the perfect time or the perfect anything, because you still have that level of, hey, I know you invested in time and effort, and some people invest a lot of money into this, and still yet you were subject to this. So I guess my biggest thing that I'm trying to request, if anyone does happen to hear this on the Come To Us side, do us a favor, fix the AI. It can't be much more of a clear request than that. I don't need you to delete stages. I don't need you to put in other units that you want me to pull out my credit card for, in the hopes that, hey, you may be able to get a 25-second run because this unit was broken for a month and we decided to leave the records in on Necro. I don't want that. Most players don't want that. If you want to help with player progression and you want to help the entry-level and mid-level players catch up to the in-game players that have been playing for a long time like me, then fix it. Fix the runs. Fix the AI, make the AI more competent, make it more reliable. That in itself will enhance the player experience and even motivate people to possibly do more runs more frequently. I do have some mid-level friends, or even friends that re-rolled accounts that got out of the game for a while and they get back in and they're already tired of it because it's not consistent. And this is the gateway to all the other content that you want us to participate in. RTA, Guild Wars, Siege, and R5. And that's another subject I haven't even touched on in here. One of the other reasons why it irritates me that the auto function doesn't work appropriately. I sent a letter, an email to Come To Us about 3 months ago because of Labyrinth. and I had noticed a discrepancy in the Dark Homunculus not using its skill 2 on the lab boss. Now, the way the skill 2 is worded, it says it strips and then defense breaks, but the defense break is not contingent on the strip. So it can still defense break without a strip. It's not like Daphnis. So if we were, in a perfect scenario, if it were to use the skills that it was given, my team should be able to clear hell mode no problem. But I watched a 10-minute run in which my Dark Homunculus did not use the skill 2. So that bothered me. So I sent an email to the developers, or to Com2uS support, and they sent me back a letter stating that it's by design that the AI doesn't work properly. And I couldn't believe what I was reading. It really irked me to the point of almost taking a sabbatical from playing Summoner's War, that it is a design element that the AI is flawed. It's a free-to-play unit, and it has a certain toolkit that they even amped up when they released the unit, saying that it would help progress in PvE content. And yet it doesn't work well in PvE content, and that really irked me, really pissed me off. So then, I accepted it for what it was, and I even brought this subject up to my guild. I'm a part of the Visioneers group of guilds. There's 5 or 6 units or guilds out there under the Visioneers brand, and some of the more high-end players in my guild made what seemed to be a logical argument about the AI not being optimal, and that is because of RTA and Arena, and they don't want players putting their units on auto in RTA and Arena and just destroying the competition because they've either played for 5 years, they have deep pockets, or have had severely great RNG and pulled the necessary units and runes to reach that level of comfort in farming those 2 particular levels or aspects of the game. After this season of RTA, I sort of noticed something that would discredit that argument, and that is the fact that most of those G1, G2, G3 players that want to farm RTA are farming RTA. If you've ever entered into an RTA competition or match at the fighter or conqueror level, you're going to hit a guardian level player that's decided they're going to smurf it up and auto you. Now, my RTA record doesn't look that stellar because it shows me as a fighter 3 or something like that, but I have hit Conqueror 1 and Conqueror 2 in RTA in the earlier seasons. Just didn't finish at that level because I lost interest in the RTA mechanics. I don't find it to be an enjoyable aspect of the game, so I don't focus on it. And one of the big reasons is I spend my time and effort in trying to have a competitive match, and then I either get just destroyed by a Guardian level player, or in the first couple of seasons when Vile procs were not capped, the Vile tilt is real. So, I mean, I know they have implemented some things to fix the violence issue in RTA. It still can be worked around with Diana or Antares and whatnot, or even Orion's skill 1, but I mean, that's a subject matter for a different video. So RTA Guardian level high-end players are still farming it regardless of the auto feature working properly, which honestly in a real-time arena event, I think even having the auto function available is BS. It should be a competitive nature. It should force players to actually pay attention And if the biggest gripe is I can't do 30 wings and sit there for 6 hours, then ComTOS drop the amount of wings down to 15, put the win-loss total at a equal amount rather than having graded amounts, and set a floor for players that finish at a certain level. And you fix that. The next part of the tangent I'm going to go off on is, if you don't want to make the AI function reliable, then don't put in game content that requires auto function or AI. And this is the part that irritates me the most, and there's two aspects of the game in which a player has zero control over the functions of the units. And if you're going to put that in there, then make the AI work, or allow us to manual it. Now, one instance no one's really going to care about. It's been in for the game for 4 years, 5 years now, which is World Boss. Okay, we all know, max your 246s, use water units because it's a primary water fire boss, so everyone either breaks even or has elemental disadvantage against the world boss, other than water units, which still get a bonus, which was another promise by ComTOS, that it would be a rotating elemental thing where we would get water fire, fire wind, wind water, probably splash light and dark in there as well. But since its release, that has not been changed, and it's a fully AI dependent aspect of the game in which your score can vary by 2 million points, and there still hasn't been a reason other than elemental disadvantage that has been discussed. But if it's based off of anything that's mechanically built into the unit, and the unit is using its skill 1 the whole time, I don't know if that's producing more or less damage, but it's an aspect of the game in which a player has zero control over the AI mechanics. And the other mechanic, or the game element, that a player doesn't have any control over is Rift. And that is basically the pinnacle of in-game progression if you want to advance in RTA. You have to be good at Rift, you have to be fast at Rift, you have to be reliable at Rift. So you're seeing teams pop up now in which require high-end stat requirements to be stable, which is great. Hey, more power to these players that are able to figure these this content out and make it more reliable for them, as part of this speed meta that keeps getting forced upon players. If you want to clear something reliably, you have to do it fast in certain aspects of the game. Otherwise, RNG takes a hold, and then the increasing likelihood that your team will fail. R5, you have no control over the turn order of the units. So if you're trying to build a reliable R5, either you're going to be really, really slow and fall behind everyone else, or you're going to be really, really fast, and then you're going to have the possibility of AI derps and wipes. So either just what do you want players to do at that point in which you're taking the element that you're telling is built in because you want players to engage in the manual aspect of the game, but yet you're taking away that at a point in the game in which most players are going to be reliant on your AI system. So, I mean, with all that being said, like I stated at the beginning, I don't want this to be a hit piece on ComTOS because I do understand there is a lot of back-end functionality that players like us don't get to see. I know their devs work overtime, releasing new content and trying to create different stuff for us to be more entertaining. I'm going to give you guys a break. Don't create anything new. Fix what you already got. Make it more enjoyable for us. And the game's going to continue to grow. I absolutely love Summoner's War. I think it's a great game. I migrated over to Summoner's War after I had kids because it was more manageable time-wise for me to play this game than my previous game, which was World of Warcraft. And it gave me all the elements of the RPG aspect that I was looking for, in a sense, and it also gave me that Pokemon style feeling of collecting all the monsters, because I played Pokemon as well. So, I mean, you have the core elements of a great game that will attract players and keep players playing, but you're also seeing, even at I'm seeing at my level, stagnation. And you're losing players because the grind has become so tedious because of X factors that are beyond the player's control. And I mean, the last 2 years of your RTA tournament have turned into, basically, I think there's only 2 new faces. And people aren't driving themselves to get up to that level because it feels like it's out of reach. And the reason why it feels like it's out of reach, it isn't a pay-to-win thing. I mean, if players had hope that they would be able to obtain certain things in a certain manner, it would keep the drive alive. So I don't think the visa problem is your problem. I think that it is a more core functional aspect of the game that is making the game feel like it's unplayable at a beginning to mid-game to early end-game level, in which the grind itself being unreliable or not fast enough is driving players away. I hope you take this with not with a grain of salt, but with just some respect from a gamer to a developer, from gamers to developers, because this isn't just solely my opinion. I look forward to seeing what you guys implement. I hope you guys found this video to be helpful. If there's anything you think I missed or overlooked, please feel free to comment. If you like what you saw, hit the notification button, hit the bell button, follow me. I look forward to putting out more content in a positive manner for Summoner's War. Like I said, I really enjoy the game. I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. You guys have a great day.